Redditors who are clearly not the favorite child. How did that affect you? Story 1. Yeah, I didn't have a good time. All I ever heard was, oh well, Brian won a ski competition and looks like he's getting engaged. I wish you would be more like your cousin. He's a very good kid. Well, I'm an only child and am still not the favorite. Story 2. My father gave a speech at my wedding in which he spoke of my stubbornness and how not everybody has to excel in life to be happy, and apparently I am one of those. I just remember thinking, why couldn't he find something I am good at to talk about instead of all the things I tried and failed at? Story 3. I am a middle child in between two sisters, each approximately a year apart from me. My mother always preferred girls to boys, and as such would treat me as always in the wrong. This went as far as to when she would catch them in the act of doing something wrong, would punish me instead. This culminated into what I like to refer to as kicking me out of the house when I was 10 years old. In essence, she called one of her ex-husbands not my father and a rather nasty divorce and told him that if he didn't come and take me in, she was putting me into a boy's home. So this man uplifted his life from the several states away that he moved and took me in for a few months. I was then bounced from house to house until I landed a semi-permanent residence with one of my aunts, TLDR least favorite child, and got kicked out of the house at 10 years old. Story 4. Cripplingly low self-esteem. I don't blame my brother at all. In fact, we have a really great relationship. He's one of my all-time favorite people. He notices the differences too and doesn't think it's fair. I'm just the scapegoat, straight up. Story 5. Favorably for the most part. Except if things went wrong and I was nearby, it was my fault. As the oldest of 5, I developed dad reflexes long before my time. Story 6. I was the mistake of two stupid teenagers. My bio dad ran away to another country, Arabian, and my bio mom had me and then dumped me on my grandma. My mom then married an abusive and had 3 other kids with him that were 2 to 5 years younger than me. My grandma was a widower that worked as a cleaner all her life. She had so little, but she tried her best. We were super poor until she passed away from a heart attack when I was 8. I then rejoined my mom, was promptly cast as the black sheep. My mom's husband had a small successful building company, and they lived in a big mansion-type house with a pool. My half-siblings had the latest toys, participated in all sorts of after-school activities, and had their own rooms. I was allowed to sleep in a sleeping bag in the lounge. I had to look for a job and use it all to pay board since the age of 13. I wasn't allowed to have any friends over or do anything. I had to go to the local school whilst my siblings went to some fancy-pants prestigious school. I mostly spent my days in the library reading, studying, and participating in free activities. I would also volunteer a lot as that was more fun than working, and they couldn't tell me not to do it. They were good Christians. I would basically wake up at 6 a.m., do my chores, paper route other odd jobs, exercise, eat fruit for breakfast, then go to school, then go to work extracurricular free, spend time in the library until it was 8 p.m., then go home, do the other chores I had left, eat leftovers and sleep. Due to this routine, I ended up doing well at school and getting multiple offers for full rides through college. My guidance counselor, some teachers and close friends' families knew of my situation and helped me a lot by taking me for holidays, helping me get organized for college, etc. In the end, I got a good job, started a successful business, and am way ahead of any of my siblings. My siblings treated me like complete trash and ignored me for most of my youth, probably coached by my mom and stepdad. The GFC really killed my stepdad's business and the whole family became dirt poor. My business prospered under the GFC, and now I make enough money that I don't have to work if I don't want to. It's not so surprising how everyone suddenly remembers your family when in a crisis after ignoring you for most of your life. I'm currently 33 and very happy with myself. I don't have any family in my eyes, and the experiences I have had has made it difficult for me to open up to anyone completely and be vulnerable, so relationships are difficult for me. However, this experience has taught me discipline, self-reliance, independence and drive, which has helped me in my business, career, life, physical health. I have a very small group of tight friends and that's enough for me. I am in therapy trying to get myself to open up more. Hopefully one day I will have a family of my own. Story 7. I was about to complain about how my brother just had more photo albums and toys when he was little, but that was it. But scrolling through all of the posts scares me about these people's parents. Story 8. My mom was abusive towards me, but never towards my brother, thankfully. When it came to getting attention from her, I only knew negative and thought it was strange when we would be around the rest of the family, and she was nice towards me as I only knew her beating the out of me. As I got older, I looked for affection from anywhere I could get it, which was usually older boys. Whenever she saw anyone treating me well, she did whatever she could to ruin it. After years of abuse from her, I finally decided to cut ties with her, and I've been incredibly happy the past 5 years. Edit for those of you asking, sadly my brother and I don't have a relationship anymore. I was 18 when I moved out and my mother changed. She didn't have me to beat on, so he saw a different side of her. I moved back to Oregon and we got close quickly. One of the reasons was because of my daughter. As I said earlier, I looked for affection from anyone I could get it from, and as a result of my actions I became a teen mother. He helped me a lot with my oldest and wanted to be around her. After a few years we both managed to forgive our mother, but in different ways. He forgave her and pretty much started a new relationship with her. I forgave her and cut ties completely. It was honestly one of the best and most exhilarating things I've done. Cutting ties completely with her caused some tension between my brother, and he thought I was overreacting. Due to this we have lost touch with each other. I've tried to reach out to him throughout the years, but he keeps bringing up a relationship with her and tells me it's not fair to keep her grandchildren away from her, so we no longer talk. Story 9. I always got the sense my sister was my mom's favorite, and I was my dad's. When my dad left, well, it was nothing major, but it is frustrating knowing she will always get the benefit of the doubt and get more leeway. Then again, if my dad visits, it is kinda awkward watching the opposite happen. Story 10. I overcompensated and insisted on being perfect, even if my family didn't recognize it. As a result, I am the most successful of my siblings by far, both financially and personally. Now the script is flipped and they hate me because I have so much more than them. Moral of the story is you can't control what people think of you.
So make your life what you want it to be.
Story 11 pisses me off. I was quiet, shy, and didn't bother anybody. My brother, on the other hand, was a complete and always tried to get into fights with me. I would be doing my homework and he would come up behind me and try to slam my head on the table, head tackle me unprovoked and beat the out of me for no reason. I tried everything I could to get away from him. If my parents were going to the store, I'd go to, but if he hopped in the car, I'd get out. This would sometimes lead to comical situations where I'd get in, head get in, so I'd get out and head get out and repeat, but that's getting off topic. Anyways, they gave him all the good stuff. They fixed up his room and gave him an AC while you could see the 2x4S in my room and no AC. Before that though, we shared a bedroom, and then when it came time to separate, he got to keep all the electronics. He had a radio, game consoles, TV. I had nothing for a few months. My parents acted like it was my fault, but he would start so many fights that my parents decided that they couldn't take it anymore, so they told us to not talk to each other, something we have done for the last 16 years. He has mental health problems. My dad realized it, but my mom pretends like it doesn't exist, and she shuts down anyone who tries to say otherwise. Story 12. I was born shortly after World War II to a war-broken father and clueless mother, who tried hard to raise a son, but was misguided by Dr. Spock and parenting practices that were prevalent at the time. As a result, corporal punishment was liberally applied, even as an infant, and I grew into a resentful, hostile toddler. Then my sister was born. Sugar and spice, and everything nice. What a crock. It took me over 50 years to figure out that I had no support or goodwill from my parents and sister. Ultimately, I cut all ties with them. Parents are now deceased, and sister has been completely out of my life for years. I do not miss them, and am grateful for the few years I have left to examine, and maybe fix, some of the damage they did to me. Edited. The corporal punishment part came from the grandparents' prevailing child-rearing wisdom of the time. Dr. Spock, who is not a Vulcan, focused in part on mitigating against attention-getting behaviors. Edit 2. Come on folks, I only mention Spock because his book and cultural practices were pretty much everything anyone had for raising kids. Seen against that background, my mother's actions, although damaging in many ways, are understandable. Likewise, my father's need to see new life, and his continuation beyond the horrors and death he witnessed. Story 13 went the overcompensation route. The favorite sibling died, and am still not enough compared to him. Him dying now places him on this angelic pedestal, even though he literally did nothing with his life and straight up stole money from my parents. Story 14. Middle child here. All I ever wanted to do was be a drummer. Parents wouldn't allow me to have a kit. Switched over to guitar instead and asked for lessons since they had invested in years of piano lessons for my sibling sisters. Wouldn't allow it. Eventually moved to LA. Started a band, got a record deal, had a video on MTV, and a Billboard Top 40 active rock song. Turns out, I didn't need their support of my aspirations after all. I still want to be a drummer though. Story 15. I have terrible self-esteem, am a perfectionist, I get uncomfortable talking about my emotions, and I constantly try to please the people in my life now. The short story. Am the oldest of 3. My parents are big sports people, and are the types of people who force their kids into crazy athletic training in order to live vicariously through their children. I was never good at sports. The first time I tried out for a team, I got cut. So my parents just moved on to my siblings and totally ignored me for the rest of my high school and college years. Ignored all my achievements. Would leave home every weekend to go to my siblings' tournaments around the country and leave me home alone. Would neglect to mention that they had an older child to everyone they knew, which led to some awkward moments meeting people they knew. And they didn't even attend my college graduation because they were so busy trolling around the country for my siblings' sports-related activities. I was literally told that a tournament was more important than my graduation. Spent my graduation day totally alone, while roommates and friends celebrated with their families. Can you imagine missing your first child's college graduation for sports? After college, I moved abroad and never looked back, only talked to them once a month or so. Didn't even get a happy Thanksgiving this week or anything. I think my moving far away has just made it okay for them to really pretend that I don't exist. I've lived here for almost 7 years, and they have never once made an attempt to visit, despite the fact that my mom has several relatives who are pilots and she basically flies for free on their flight plans. Am like a ghost to my family, feels bad. Edit. I didn't think anyone would even read this, but I just want to say thanks for all the responses and support. I don't talk about it at all, ever read bad at emotions, and it felt cathartic to write this out and then get so many responses. Thanks, Reddit. Edit 2. RIP my inbox. You guys are the best. To answer some of your common questions, I'm really close with my siblings now. I got ignored, but they had to deal with all the pressure and sports-related nonsense my parents forced them into, and they have an equally strained relationship with them too. They both quit their sports in fits of rage eventually, and they hold a ton of resentment over it. We talk all the time. They're the best. I lived in Spain for about 5-ish years, and moved to Italy after. As it turns out, your parents ignoring you makes it really easy to just jet off and live your best life without any obligations at home holding you back, so I'm thankful for that. I'm married to an awesome guy who has an awesome, loving family. I love my in-laws. I might be the only person on the planet who enjoys hanging out with their mother-in-law, and I have surrounded myself with friends that serve as family. Family is who you choose it to be, that cannot be understated. I did try to take my parents to task over it. It did not go well. I was essentially cursed out and told it was all my fault. Oh well, I struggle with those feelings still, but I have mostly moved on. It doesn't get me down anymore. Enough people in my life have validated for me that my parents are indeed jackasses after they've met them and seen the situation firsthand, which has helped a lot in terms of moving on from it. It is what it is. Story 16. Thus thread really makes me want to go thank my parents. They made everything as equal as possible between my sister and I, and they've always been really explicit about making sure we know that they do that so we don't expect more or less than each other. If there's a favorite, they kept it well hidden. Story 17. I try to have a sense of humor about it and call myself the black sheep. I think deep down it hurts, but I truly just think my parents don't understand me or my interests, and I've come to realize they love me but just don't relate as well. Story 18. When I was very young and didn't do something like eat the vegetables at dinner, my mom would close her eyes and say, "I love my kids, I love my kids, I love my kids," over and over, like she was trying to convince herself. I quickly learned that, to her, my emotions were wrong or not worth her time, that, among other things, really me up. Edited to add emotional neglect is a real and very damaging thing. It's overlooked and goes unnoticed because it's not always an action, but a lack of action. I think a lot of people in this thread have experienced it, and I empathize with all of you. If you're interested in learning more about it, dear John Iceweb has a number of online articles and resources about it. Best of luck to all of you, you're not alone. Story 19. It made me work harder to achieve more to prove myself in their eyes. In hindsight, it was a blessing in disguise because it gave me reason to accomplish more than I would have otherwise, helping to set the stage for a positive future. Story 20. It hasn't really made a huge impact on my life, I guess. Except I can't understand how people enjoy spending time with their families. I'm the least favorite for sure, mostly because I'm the most outspoken. I'm not willing to just take whatever comes out of my dad's mouth as the truth. My sister is forever making posts on Facebook about how she's so thankful my parents do stuff for her. My dad once told a room full of psychologists that he didn't love her because how could you love that? So I'm not sure why she's kissing. My dad regularly tells me that my political views pain him and are disappointing. I also didn't baptize my kids because my husband and I decided to let them make that decision on their own, but that's basically just condemning them to, I guess. My brother is considerably younger than my sister and I. He's the favorite. My dad tried to have me and my friends arrested at 16 to 17 for smoking weed. My brother drops out of college and his chances in the army, and my parents have no problem with that. Story 21. I was told once in a very serious situation that I am the favorite child and I resented my parents a lot for it. I felt horrible for my siblings and of course never wanted them to find out for fear of how they would feel. Story 22. My older sister and my younger brother both have depression. I do not have depression and am also smarter and more independent than the two. I don't think I'm the unfavorite in a negative way. But I think that my confidence and independence have worked against me because my parents are always catering to and complimenting my other siblings but not me. Sometimes I truly feel like the forgotten middle child. I feel like my parents think that my siblings need extra love attention but I don't because I'm always okay. It's a weird feeling. Story 23. It really me up. My little brother gets whatever he wants. My sisters and I on the other hand are not allowed to do simple things like use the internet and eat. He doesn't know that my boyfriend figured out the password and gave it to me. Gotta love my nerd. It got to the point where I was struggling in school because I wasn't allowed internet to work on my assignments. All the while my little brother sat there watching YouTube. I know it's not my brother's fault but I resent him for it. I had to work so hard to get my stepdad to even acknowledge my existence while he got it straight up because of genetics. I wish I could get out of here but he takes my money as well. It got so bad I tried to kill myself. If that shows how badly it affected me. Story 24. It was weird. My mom clearly favored my younger brother. She has always preferred boys. He was somewhat special needs, hyperactive and had dyslexia. And this just amplified the attention he got. I never resented it. He was a cool kid and it wasn't his fault. Sometimes he would even take the blame for things I did because the punishment would be lighter. We both knew it. But what can you do? He passed away when he was 25. Now a big part of who my mom is relates to having lost a son. Still the favorite, still not mad. Story 25. It is clear that between my cousins and us, me and my brother, we are the least favorites for our grandfathers on our dad's side. But I think it's mainly connected that my dad is their least favorite child. I don't really care but it's sad how they up their relationship with us, especially with dad. He didn't deserve it and I think it has a lot to do with the way he is now. He's completely fine, just have some issues like we all do. Story 26. I got over it. So did my younger brother. My parents had 4 kids, a twin boy and girl, twin bro and twin sis. And then me, a boy and then another boy. They gave the eldest pair special treatment throughout our whole childhood. One memorable time when we had been naughty, my mother told us me and younger bro had been accidents whereas the twins were planned. I told her you can't say that to kids. I was maybe 10 and that I would remember it when I grew up. 30 years later I brought it up and she insisted it never happened, but my brother remembers it too. When it was present time, the twins got something special. Even though we were a poorish family, there was always money for the twins. On their birthday, twin bro got a brand new dragster bike, expensive at the time. I got a girl's bike -2 ND hand, which my dad convinced me was just as good as a boy's bike. Well, okay. Little bro got an old bike with 2 flat tires and no chain. When he asked his dad if he could fix it for him on his birthday, Dad shouted at him and told him to be patient. He couldn't ride his own bike on his own birthday. Wasn't until the next day that Dad got around to fixing it. Who gives a child a broken toy? Christmas time, twin bro gets a special microscope. We get smaller, cheaper ones. Going camping, twin bro gets a special, expensive sleeping bag. We get cheap ones. When I was in my teens, I asked my dad why he treated us differently from them. He explained to me how in the old days the first son would inherit everything, then any others would go into the army or the ministry. This was primogeniture. The first son deserved special treatment. Asked my mother why twin sis had 13 pairs of shoes when I had one. Seriously, all I had was a single pair of school shoes, otherwise I was barefoot. She explained to me how when she was a little girl she lived on a farm and the boys got everything and the girls got nothing. I don't believe this, and that she was determined to make up for it with her own daughter. Clothes, twin bro, as eldest, had to get new clothes. Fair enough, what else could you do? Twin sis got new clothes too. I got hand-me-downs, rarely some new clothes. Smallest boy got new clothes again because they were too old by then, so the only one in the family who got second-hand clothes was me. When I was 12 I won a school prize, topped the school in English and got a bursary, small amount of money, a 100 prize, but this was back in the 70s and a decent amount of money. I decided to use it to buy a train set, so I asked my dad to drive me over, which he did. When we got back home he said, "I've done something for you, now you must do something for me," and demanded I give him the Transformer adjustable power box from a set ID just bought with the money ID won. It was brand new and really nice. He took it and gave it to twin bro, then gave me twin brother's old one, which didn't work so well. This hurt so much at the time that I suppressed the memory, and it wasn't until little bro and me were talking in our 40s that I remember. Because he brought it up. Because even he had thought it was unfair. The story was like this all throughout childhood. They were better than us and deserved something special. Funnily enough, neither of them ever excelled at anything, whereas me and younger bro did. Both of us managed to gain entry into a selective high school. You had to be in the top 5 of the state to enter, but the twins didn't. Before high school, all 4 of us would walk to primary. Once high school started, the twins were driven to school every day because they couldn't take the bus. Twin bro is being bullied. And twin sis got to go, of course, because it makes sense to take both. I was picked up from school once in my entire life. It was in about the 4th year of primary school. As I left, their mum was at the school gate. The first in line of all the mums, looking proud as she waited to pick me up. I realized it was not about picking me up, but about looking good in front of the other parents. "What are you doing here?" "I'm here to pick you up." "Why? You've never picked me up before." And she never picked me up again after that, me or little bro. Birthdays, always something special for them. They got a 21st birthday party too. They forgot my 17th birthday. I waited for hours for a surprise, but nothing happened. I let it go for a week and then told, "You forgot my birthday." Mum said, "No, we didn't." Really, something so important even to a teen, and I cannot remember whether I had one or not. I never got another one either. Although the twins got one up to 21. Smallest bro says his stopped at 15. So in our 20s now and it's job time, we still live at home. So mum asks for 25 of our pay each week to pay for food and groceries. Fair enough. It takes me several years to realize that the only time mum goes shopping is when I have just gotten paid and gotten home. I ask her in the car if the others are paying. Bored and silence is my answer. I find out later that I was the only one. Twin sis didn't have to pay because she's a girl and needs extra money for clothes, shoes, haircuts, makeup, etc. Twin bro wasn't paying, to know why, and little bro used to pay but stopped. One time I'm sleeping in the bedroom and mum has a visitor over. At this time both me and little bro have gained entry to the selective high school, and I am getting results like 3RD 124 in English, 5124 in math, etc. Visitor tells mum how her daughter has just completed a course at tech cooking. I think, oh, that's wonderful. None of my kids are any good at anything. Now I was lying in bed mostly asleep, but I could not take this lying down. Haha, I got up, went out and said, "That's a terrible thing to say, and it's not true." Visitor had the grace to look abashed. In truth, she was a nice lady, but mum just gave me the evil eye and didn't say a word. Mum never believed in herself, and strangely somehow when she had kids she never believed in her kids either. I guess it was an inferiority complex that was extended to her own children once she had them. In his 40s, my little bro asked twin bro if he ever thought it was unfair that he got special treatment from mum and dad. "It wasn't unfair, I was the firstborn son," he said. He believes it too. Anyway, so how did it affect us in our 50s now? Big bro is unmarried, has no money, wife, GF or kids, no savings, and no education, completed high school. That's all. He has never had a GF either because he's terrible around women. Twin sis spent her entire life living with mummy, yes, even up to her 50s, and having everything paid for by mum. She would occasionally get a job, but by the time she hit 50 she's 57 now. I am not sure she had completed 4 years worth of work altogether in her entire life. As a consequence, she never really grew up. She is unable to look after herself financially. She applies for jobs she has no hope of doing, fabricates her credentials, occasionally gets one as in one job in 4 years and then gets fired in the first week for being incapable. She has no savings, has never been married, no kids, and she has no education as she did not even complete high school. I am married with 2 kids, I own my own place, It is paid off. We have zero debts, not even a credit card, and several years' worth of salary in the bank. I have been teaching for 15 years. Little bro is also a teacher and has his own place. He has been married several times. The ones they treated the best did not do the best, and the ones they had the smallest regard for did. My own kids get treated equally. TLDR, the two who were treated the worst did the best. The two favorites did the worst. Edit, thank you for the gold. My last one ran out 4 days ago. Story 27. My father commits suicide when I was a baby because of mental illness teamed with marital complications. Pretty sure my mother never wanted me after that. It's a really bad feeling. But I grew up to make really sad weird music as a result of my entire life. I love the people that love my work because I don't feel so alone anymore. Edit, am an only child. Edit 2, thanks for all the messages. Links below: www, SoundCloud, Sparklebomb, www, YouTube, Synthetic Sound. Story 28. I have no relationship with my parents. My mother always preferred my sister. They developed a weird relationship that was almost like they were best friends. She never acted like her mother and made constant excuses. My sister has been diagnosed with a personality disorder, attempted suicide twice, and is working a minute wage service job. My father preferred his younger son he had with his now wife, who he cheated on my mother with. The kid is very young, but I hope my father does right by him, which would be the opposite of what he's done for me. He was never there, always had excuses, smoked in the car non-stop when I was a young child, always told me he had money set aside for school. Time came and nothing. That's fine, I asked him to co-sign. Nope, I didn't get enough from OSAP to afford school and living expenses, so I started a landscaping business to turn school with a friend. Eventually dropped out because I couldn't do it anymore. Now I work at a bank and went back and on the path to get my CFA. He always told me he had money set aside for my first house. I asked him to co-sign for a small loan so I can buy a new build condo. At the time my money was either locked in investments or going towards school. I think he can go himself because I never asked for a dollar. I got to where I am for my own doing and the love for my grandparents. I don't care for either of my parents. Story 29. I was the black sheep of my family. My parents divorced when I was 4, both had undiagnosed mental illnesses. My mom's side of my family genuinely despise me and have since I was a kid. I have all female cousins. My 2 older brothers were the only boys. They were treated kinda better. None of my aunts disciplined their kids. They also never believed their kids can do no wrong. My brothers were just boys who needed a good influence. They all hated my dad and his family because my dad remarried after the divorce. I, on the other hand, was a burden. On the Thanksgiving after my 19th birthday, they set up a birthday cake for one of my cousins whose birthday was in December. I mentioned they didn't tell me happy birthday. I was told by my grandmother that since I didn't write proper thank you notes, I didn't deserve to have a birthday. My mom briefly married a man who was a known child molester and had my sister. I moved in with my dad shortly after. I thought maybe they hate my dad, but no, they treat my sister like gold. 12 sister, my cousins have stolen from me, humiliated me during family vacations, blamed me for bad things happening to them. My dad passed away in 2010 and I haven't really had family since, but my has a good family. Story 30. When I was younger, I did get upset by it. Mostly it was my father with my brother. Those two just got along better than him and I, but as I grew older I realized that it doesn't really matter because I don't enjoy that my dad enjoys. It's not like if I was the favorite I'd be hanging out with him. I mean, I just kinda flowed with it. Story 31. My parents just say I'm more independent than my younger sister, the baby of the family. We were both adopted and I never felt like I really connected with family the way she does. I moved out as soon as I turned 18 and now I talk to my parents as an adult, and we get along much better. Some people you can take in small doses, and I guess that's how my parents feel about me, because that's how I feel about them. Story 32. My mother is constantly giving to my 2 brothers, but because incapable of taking care of myself, I get nothing from her. That's fine, whatever. But we're not children anymore, we're all in our 40s. Like when we're out to lunch and my mother pays for everyone's meals but mine, and then asks my brother if he wants her to buy him a pie to take home. I guess I'll buy my own pie, mom, which I'm totally capable of doing. It just all happens right in front of me and gets really, really old. Story 33. I can just not do anything right, ever. It doesn't help that my mom never cared who I actually am as a person. She just made up a person in her head and was perpetually mad at me for not being that person. It's even more up because that person she made up was a way out of control teenager who she wanted to use to get attention from everyone. This led to any little thing I ever did wrong being blown way out of proportion so that she could use it as an excuse to call everyone she knows and cry about how I was so out of control and she just didn't know what to do with me anymore. She also tried to engage multiple family members in betting money that I would be pregnant by 19, and she told my grandfather I was a stripper when I moved out on my 18th birthday. I have never stripped in my life. Side note, my mother lived at home with her dad until she was almost 50. I moved out as soon as was legal so I could stop being a financial burden on him. Joke's on her though. I'm 26 now, been in a relationship with the same amazing man for going on 8 years now. Own my house, we bought a rundown mobile home and flipped it. Now have no mortgage. Have an amazing one. 5-year-old son, and although late in the game I'm on my way towards my degree in accounting. First to walk at high school graduation in my family. First to go to college, 3.8 GPA. Lucky enough to be a stay-at-home parent while going to school. I'm in a fair amount of debt from the renovation, but we will be able to pay it off and I think I'm doing very well, especially considering what I came from. Story 34. Plenty of sour stories in here. I could add to that pile for sure. Instead, I have no expectations. I hope my younger sister continues to be a great person that she is and my folks deal with all the decisions they have made over the years. I won't be there anymore to see it though. How did everything affect me? Simple.
I cambieur t'es ni mort.
Story 35. My parents are great parents, but I kind of ticked them off by being a horrible person in high school and as a young adult. I'm the oldest child, but my younger siblings are ridiculously accomplished. So when I was just out of high school, introductions were like this is my oldest, Blatant. He works at Applebee's. This is my daughter, Blockade, and she goes to fancy private college, and this is my youngest son, Soup. He just got accepted to household name tech college, so yeah, that did a number on my self-esteem, all the more painful because it was completely true.